Ever wonder why some violin skills click in a week, but others take months or years? If we haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher. I've been playing the violin for over 20 years. I have my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and I'm Suzuki trained. If you're enjoying my videos, please just take a quick second to make sure you are subscribed to my channel. It's easy, it's free, and it really helps me out. If you're interested in working with me, you can check the description for a private lesson application. I teach one-on-one online private lessons, as well as my comprehensive learning program, Learn Violin Online. LVO will be opening up for enrollment in early 2026. So if you need a super affordable, flexible, but also structured learning program with unlimited feedback from me, definitely check it out and snag your spot on the waitlist. In this video, I'm going to be ranking violin techniques by how long they actually take to learn. And what I mean by that is how long these skills take to feel comfortable and consistent, not perfect. One of my favorite things to say to my students is we're human, where nothing is ever perfect. So let go of that expectation right now, because perfection does not exist unless you're Hillary Hahn though, am I right? Also, of course, every adult learns differently. And the rankings I'm about to give are just an average range from my personal experience teaching adults. These skills might take you longer, they may take you shorter, and it depends on a lot of things such as your prior experience and the amount and consistency of your practice. Real quick, pause the video and tell me what skills you're working on right now. First, we're going to start off with fast wins. So these are techniques that can be learned in a few weeks to a few months. First up, we have basic posture and instrument hold. This usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for most learners to grasp. There's several very common issues that arise right at the very beginning. So for bowing, it's very hard to keep the pinky curved, it's very hard to keep the thumb bent. For your violin, it can be difficult to find a posture that feels comfortable for you. You might have to experiment with the height of your shoulder rest and potentially try different shoulder rests altogether. And don't get me wrong, these are things that we are always adjusting, especially within the first year of playing, but it should take about 2 to 3 weeks to feel relatively comfortable with your violin hold. And here's a quick tip, if it feels awkward, you're probably doing it right. Violin is certainly not a naturally positioned instrument, to say the least. Technique 2 is open string bowing. I would say this takes about 2 to 3 weeks as well for most learners. The things to focus on are 1, keeping the bow straight, so keeping the bow parallel to the bridge, and also not letting the bow slide, so keeping it halfway between the bridge and the fingerboard. Now the thing about this is that it's kind of hard to tell, especially at the beginning when you're looking right here, if your bow is straight. So if you practice in front of the mirror or record yourself doing open string bowing, that can really work wonders. You also need to make sure that you are applying consistent pressure into the string so that the sound is even. And technique 3 is left hand finger placement and using fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for me personally, I introduce fingers 1, 2, and 3 pretty quickly off the bat. I would say most students are playing the A major scale in either their second or third lesson. And when you are placing your fingers on the string, you need to make sure that they are staying curly, aka that your knuckle is up, not down and collapsed, and that you're placing them on the tip on the inside corner. You also need to make sure you're keeping a bit of space there and that you're not holding the violin too deep. Figure 4, I introduce in perpetual motion, which is like in the middle-ish of book 1 of Suzuki, but just getting each finger placement by itself, I would say takes maybe 1 to 2 weeks. I think it's perfectly fine to use finger tapes if needed. You won't need them forever, I promise you will build that muscle memory. So moving into the more intermediate habits. So these are skills that take a few months to become reliable and comfortable. So first we have smooth string crossings. This usually takes about 2 to 3 months. Some common issues with this include hitting extra strings, or what I like to call noisy neighbors, and just like awkward elbow placement. Also, you need to make sure you are doing your string crossings correctly. So when moving from a higher string to a lower string, your hand moves first and then your arm follows. And then when moving from a lower string to a higher string, your arm moves first and your hand follows. If you find yourself hitting a lot of noisy neighbors, it's likely that you are either 1, moving too much. So if you want to go from A to D and you go like this, you move your arm too much, obviously you're going to hit the G string, or not moving enough. If you hear something like that, you didn't move your hand quite enough and you did not move quick enough. Technique number 2 in this category is basic shifting from first to third position. I would say this takes about 4 to 6 months to feel really comfortable with. I think some students find it a little bit like a brain teaser at first because you are playing the same notes just in a different way. So for example, you've been used to playing B, first finger on the A string, as first finger, but now it's a third finger. Some students are fine with it, but some students take a while to get used to that. And it can be also difficult to remember where the notes are or figure out where the notes are in third position. So I like to have students practice exercises entirely in third position first so they can get used to, the different finger placements. Also, the higher you go up on the instrument, the closer the notes are together. So intonation usually needs to be worked on here. And after that, we practice shifting between first and third. When you're shifting, remember to take it slow, to use a guide finger, and always try to memorize the distance. Memorize how far your finger or your hand needs to go within that shift. And the third item in this category is dynamic control, which I would say takes about 3 to 5 months. So there's obviously different ways to create dynamics. The first and most easiest way is to change the amount of bow you're using. So if you use more bow, it'll be louder. If you use less bow, it'll be softer. After that, you can work on pressure or arm weight. So obviously the more arm weight that you add, the louder it's going to be. The less arm weight you have, the softer it's going to be. The third way is to change bow speed. So to create a crescendo, you can gradually move your bow faster, and to create a decrescendo, you can gradually move your bow slower. And then finally, the contact point. So closer to the bridge is louder, closer to the fingerboard is softer. So in Suzuki Book 1, we focus on amount of bow. In Suzuki Book 2, we focus on pressure. In Suzuki Book 3, we focus on the bow speed, and in Suzuki Books, mostly Book 5 actually, because Book 4 is a lot of fast pieces, we talk about the contact point. Section 3 are longer term skills, so techniques that take 6 months to 1 year to feel natural. They probably already know what's up first, vibrato. So I think it only takes a few weeks, maybe 2 months, to get comfortable or familiar with the vibrato movement, but it doesn't start actually sounding like vibrato, aka you don't get that speed, you don't get that consistency until at least month 6. And this is a really common point for adults to feel stuck. The majority of us hold so much tension, and unfortunately vibrato just cannot work if we are stiff. And also, again, vibrato is not natural, right? So it is completely normal to be at the 6 month, 1 year mark and still not happy with your vibrato. I would say it's even perfectly normal to be at the 2-3 year mark and not be happy with your vibrato. This technique takes a long time to master. Technique 2 is double stops. So I would say this takes about 9 to 12 months to feel reliable and comfortable. You just work so hard on your elbow levels and playing 1 string at once, and now we want to play 2. You have to totally recalibrate the positioning of your arm. In addition, you have to start thinking about intonation in a different way. So since the violin uses just intonation, this means that notes can be different and in slightly different places depending on the other notes that are being played with it. So when you're tuning double stops, you really have to go by how the interval sounds rather than where you're used to putting your finger. So 1, you obviously have to know how your intervals sound, right? And then 2, you have to, tune them on the violin. A big hurdle to overcome, intonation and double stops. Also, it's very common for students to press too hard and have double stops sound scratchy. It can take a while to get comfortable with playing 2 strings at once so you don't feel like you have to press so hard. And technique 3 is off the string bow strokes such as spiccato. I'd say this takes a year plus because they depend heavily on relaxation and balance. Then finally, in the advanced stages, techniques that take years and things that you are always working on are fast passage work, and clean shifting. This requires coordination, accuracy, and relaxation, and of course, phrasing and musicality. I'm sure that you knew when you started on your violin journey that this was not going to be something that you picked up in a week. Certain techniques are easier to learn than others. I hope this helps you be uplifted and not feel discouraged if you feel like you are not progressing as fast as you should. It's important to celebrate progress at every single stage, and progress isn't always linear. So leave a comment, let me know what skills you're currently working on, and if you want me to do a video ranking these skills by difficulty. Please make sure you subscribe before you go, and thank you for watching.